All right, guys, this is Crazy Kevin here, and I'm here with UFC fighter Chase Hooper. Chase, how we doing, my man?
Good. Just water loading right now, so I'm peeing a bunch. But other than that, fight week's going pretty good so far. It's only 9 a.m. here, but yeah, off to a pretty good start.
Very nice, very nice. Now you got your matchup here with Slavic Claus. Talk to us a little bit about that matchup and how you feel going into it.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a very like a kind of like a black and white matchup. Like if it stays on the feet, that's gonna favor him more. If it goes to the ground, it's obviously gonna favor me a lot more. He's a finisher, so am I. I think it makes an exciting matchup. Um, Yeah, I mean, I think it's a test from UFC to see which one of us is ready for that kind of next step up, even from here in competition. See who's improving more, and yeah, I mean, obviously it's a exciting matchup, so I'm ready for it.
Now, I did see a screenshot from Tommy Gunn from back in the Based MMA group chat. You know, you mentioned you might want to wrestle fuck Slavic Claus. Is that still the game plan?
I mean, who would have me doing it any other way? Um, I mean, it's no secret, like he should know it if he, watch one of my fights, be like, oh, this guy's gonna want to grapple me. Where I'm gonna know, oh, this guy's gonna, try and beat me up on the feet. That's what I'm saying. It's like it's a pretty like honest matchup, I guess. Like there's not really any like if he were to try and grapple me, it just wouldn't make any sense. And if I were to try and just bang it out with him for 15 minutes, it wouldn't make any sense either. So it's yeah, I mean, I'm gonna try to grapple him. I think it's pretty clear, like that's my way to get and win. At least the easiest way for me to get a win. So yeah, I mean that's still the game plan is try to get him down and try to keep him there. Maybe look for some subs, look for some TKOs. I mean, yeah, I think it's pretty easy.
Yeah, 100%. Now, another thing I also heard you mention is, you have to make sure you get that ego out of the way, like fighting, fight your style of the fight, not just going out there to stand and bang. Like you mentioned, you obviously want to take him to the ground. Was there any fight out there that maybe you had in your previous fights that maybe your ego was in the way that maybe, hindered the way you performed?
I don't know. I think I've definitely. I don't know. It's hard to have an ego when you are getting ready to go into a cage fight. Like it really is a humbling experience. Like just the energy and all that. But I think, yeah, just going in without any preconceived notions of like, oh, he's going to be this good on the feet, or like, oh, I could probably beat him on the feet, whatever. Um, Trying to be like, oh, I know exactly what he's going to do. Like, you really don't know what's going to happen until you guys tie up, until, the ref says go and you guys start punching each other. So it's just, yeah, try not to have any preconceived notions. And I think, yeah, I think this is a good matchup. And I obviously I'm not overlooking him at all. Like I respect his style. Because he's in here at the highest level. He's had exciting fights. He's fought some of the toughest guys in the division. On the lower ends, outside of the rankings. So he's fought some tough competition the whole time. But yeah, I just think I have a hard style to mimic, and yeah, it's all about winning the easiest way possible. At least at this level, like a win is gonna suck, and so is a loss. Like just on your body afterwards, like it's hard going against these guys like myself, like high level guys, high level fighting. Like you rarely walk out of there without a scratch. So even like if you get a win, it's still gonna suck. So it's just that's why you got to take the ego out. You got to really just find the smartest way to win and the easiest way to win, given the circumstances.
I definitely think that's important. Definitely find the smartest way to win. And now, this is going to be your ninth fight now in the UFC. With that being said, who do you think is maybe the toughest matchup that you've had to prepare for in the gym out of all those fights?
Um, Honestly, I don't know. Uh, I guess probably Caceres would be my toughest, just because it was such a skill gap. Like he's had more, like over 20 fights in the company by the time, it was my second fight. That was just a lot to prepare for, especially during like it was the very early stages of the lockdown type stuff. So it was a weird time. Um, but yeah, going against such a veteran guy on my second fight, like like I mentioned with Slava, he's only fought tough guys, so have I. Fighting somebody like that on your second fight is not, he's no slouch for sure. And you can see it still, like he's doing great at 45. I'm actually looking forward to his matchup as well. Just as a fan to be able to watch it. Um, yeah, I would say he was the hardest, just because of all the spinny stuff. Like he's really dynamic striker, and at the end of the day, I didn't want to get knocked out with a spin kick on TV type of thing. So that was always in the back of my head for sure.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. Actually, at that time period, I was watching that fight. I was really hyping you up to my friends. I'm like, oh, this is the lock of the year right here, Chase Hooper. But I'm glad that you've been bouncing back and really, really improving since that last fight. And, another big thing about you is you have phenomenal grappling. And with your grappling, who do you think is maybe the toughest guy you've ever rolled against?
Uh, I mean, I got to train with Ryan Hall, and that was a little bit not a fight, but you getting to see the levels to the game for sure. Especially on the leg lock side of things. That was actually right after my Caceres fight, so I feel like I've progressed a lot in the grappling since then, and especially the leg lock attacks and the defense. But I mean, obviously, he's one of the best in the world. With jiu-jitsu, so that was definitely a cool experience to be able to grapple a guy like that.
Yeah, 100%. That makes sense. And Michelle Pereira this weekend, he did like a backflip into a submission. Was there any sort of sick submissions you might have hit in the gym that is kind of memorable to you?
Uh, Honestly, nothing crazy like that. I'm not backflipping on the guys, but I love a good old banana split every now and again.
Slip this little fella in here. Yep. I'm gonna roll through here. My grips. Yep. There's the split. There's the split.
It's just fun, and it's like it's one of those things where like the panic of some guy feeling like a tearing in his inner thigh region is they tap pretty quickly. Nobody's really trying to be a tough guy when it comes to that, so I think it's kind of fun.
Yeah, no, I definitely think that's definitely an interesting submission. I've been in that one a couple of times. I definitely know how that one feels. And with your grappling, you grappled guys like Guida and Moicano. Is there any other future grappling matchups you plan to maybe do after this fight?
We'll see as far as specifics go. Like I try not to really like plan anything out, but just anything that makes sense. Like the Aljo one, like that was a fun matchup, and I got to go to Abu Dhabi for it. So doing stuff like that where it's either getting to go somewhere cool or yeah, grappling other fighters, I think makes a lot of sense. Like I don't need to be out here grappling pure jujitsu guys. Like I don't get to just focus on jujitsu. I got to think about somebody trying to punch my head in all the time. I got to work on the striking, work on the wrestling, work on the jujitsu. So I have to deal with all three of those elements. Um, so I'd like to fight another guy that's also having to deal with that type of stuff. So somebody else that's also fighting that type of thing. Um, yeah, and it's cool to grapple other fighters, like just to see how the MMA style kind of crosses over. Because again, that's what pays the bills, and the grappling's the more fun side stuff. So yeah, I don't know, really anything that makes sense, or anywhere that'll let me travel to a cool spot. I'd like to do that kind of between fights. I think it's good to keep me in like a competitive mindset. Good to keep me in shape too. So yeah, I'll take it.
Nice, nice. Now you did mention a little bit about traveling. With your fight being in St. Louis, do you plan to do any sort of sightseeing before or after the fight?
Uh, Honestly, I don't really know much about St. Louis. I've heard a lot of mixed stuff, respectfully. So I guess I'll have to make it up on the fly when we're out there. I know there's like that arch. Heard the elevator up there is kind of rickety. We'll see. Send somebody else up there before me. But I've actually heard really good things about the barbecue. That's definitely something we're looking at after weigh-ins for sure. Try to stake out some spots during the week. Other than that, I don't know. I'm pretty open to suggestions, so we'll see. We'll see what everybody's saying out there.
That definitely sounds fun. And with that being said, it's obviously fight week. What is maybe some behind the scenes stuff that you have to do during fight week that maybe a fan might not know about?
Right now I'm water loading actually, so I'm drinking probably close to 2 gallons today, which is not fun of just water. That's kind of the worst part, I would say, just because you're getting up and peeing every 15, 20 minutes. Especially when you have to fly, that sucks. I always make UFC book me like a aisle seat, just because I'm gonna be up in the bathroom the whole flight. So that's probably the worst part that people don't seem to know about as much. Like the weight cut just kind of goes over people's heads, and that's really like for me and I think a lot of other fighters, like the weight cut is the biggest thing kind of weighing on your shoulders until you make that weight. So I think a lot of the fans like discount it. They're like, "Oh yeah, so and so made weight," or like, "Oh, they missed it," you know. But it's just a lot of yeah, behind the scenes stuff that people aren't seeing. Like a lot of that's at least the short term suffering. But yeah, it's not a good time.
Right. No, it definitely doesn't sound like a fun time, that's for sure. And one thing I thought was pretty interesting I saw on your X bio is that you're an MMA journalist of the year. You've won it the past couple of years now. How did you kind of get into that, and how have you been winning these awards?
Well, I happen to be the only one qualified on UFC Fight Pass, or at least the only one that's voted for by the one guy that determines who wins. Uh, so it's kind of a lock, anyways. But no, I don't know. I like working with Fight Pass and getting to do stuff with them. Hopefully, we'll get to do some more stuff in the future. Um, yeah, I don't know. Just hanging out with the Fight Pass guys and putting some content out. Um, yeah, I don't know. I think it's fun to do stuff besides just the fighting type of side of the business. I guess like I don't know. It's cool to kind of branch out and try to work on that type of stuff and have fun doing it. So yeah, see how that goes. See if I get to
Very
do it
nice.
more.
Yeah, yeah, very nice. And me and my buddy Christian, we met you a couple years ago when you were grappling at CFFC with Clay Guida, and at that time you were doing a little bit of Twitch streaming. Is that something you might plan to do again in the future?
Honestly, I saw a lot of people were leaving Twitch. If I got back into it, I'd probably jump to Kick or something where everybody else is. I don't know. It's just figuring out the time for it. Like it's one of those things where like I generally play video games to relax, and it's hard to relax when you feel like you're trying to entertain people, that type of thing. But we'll see. I'm not, knocking the possibility of it in the future, but yeah, I don't know. Play it by ear.
Nice, nice. Now you got a baby on the way too, man. Talk to us a little bit about that. How's that going to change once that happens?
Uh, I guess we'll find out. I mean, this will be my first one, so we'll see how that affects everything. But really, it was just telling UFC like, hey, I can't fight in June. Like that's around the due date. Like we got to fight before. So then I'll get to fight. Have all that weight off my shoulders, and then jump right into the baby stuff. Have some time to adjust, and then hopefully get back to fighting in like a decent schedule. Definitely get something in before the end of the year. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see how it goes.
Very nice, very nice. And with that being said, too, you mentioned if you beat Slava, you're going to kind of move up a tier, maybe in the lightweight rankings. Do you have maybe some eyes of maybe who your next opponent could be?
Um, I don't know. I think it's kind of hard to call your shots at this point. I feel like we've asked for guys in the past, and UFC's been like, no, how about this guy? So it's kind of a weird. Um, it's kind of a weird thing where I try not to really call my shots or anything. Like I just try to take it as it comes, because that's how they give it to you. Like just whenever they find an opponent for you that they want, then here you go. But I don't know. I think I'll be moving up towards like where a lot of the maybe unranked, more veteran guys are. Like just kind of look at that after the fight and try to determine which one of those guys makes the most sense. And yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, no, that definitely makes sense. And getting back to your grappling, what belt are you in BJJ, and how would you typically get from one belt rank to the next belt rank?
Uh, I've had my black belt now for 3 years. I started training when I was 8, so I've been just going the whole time. That's the nice thing about jujitsu is there's no set criteria for getting the promotion or whatever. Like it's not like some other more traditional martial arts where it's like, oh, you got to know these techniques, whatever. Just a skill set and like a time in type of thing. Yeah, I don't know. I've been training for what 15, 16 years now, so I definitely put the time in, and you know, it's showing whether it's in competition or whether it's in the gym that you have the skill set required. And like, I don't know, there's other people of those same belts. And you compete against them, whether, you know, you're just rolling with them in the gym or whether you're doing competitions and, you know, you start making your way up there, then, you know, then they start looking at giving you the next belt, I guess. And it's, yeah, I mean, I've definitely shown that I'm on the more legit end of black belts. So we'll see.
Yeah, no, you definitely are a legitimate black belt, that's for sure. And you know, one thing I like to ask every fighter I bring on the show is I'm a Taekwondo instructor. I've been training for 20 years now, and I've been teaching for 6. I just love what I do, man. And with that being said, with all the guys that I have in my martial arts gym, what advice would you give to those guys to keep coming into the gym and keep getting better and better every single day?
Honestly, I would just say kind of the same thing that I did. Like, I was never really the number one guy in the gym. I just showed up more than everybody else. That's really, and if you want to be good at this, like a lot of people, I feel like will be like, oh, I want to fight. Oh, I want to be in UFC someday. But they won't put the work in. Like, you really have to truly make the sacrifices. You gotta, you know, when someone's like, hey, let's go out party, like, let's go hang out. You could just skip the gym tonight. Like that. I just made it, not that I was getting invited out to go to parties or anything, but I just made training like really like an immovable part of my schedule. Like a lot of people have their job, they're like, okay, 9 to 5. That's already blocked out of the day. This is the same thing for me with training. Whether I want to go or not, I just show up. And you'll go through phases, you'll go through ups and downs of like, oh, I'm really into this, I'm having a great time, and then you'll maybe get burnt out. You just got to kind of power through and just, yeah, just keep putting the work in. And if you show up more than everybody else, like there's no way that you're not going to get better. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I definitely think that's a good message. I mean, consistency is definitely key. I definitely think that's really important for every martial artist, depending on what martial art they're going for. And you know, with that being said, Chase, last message out there for the fans that are going to be watching this video.
Uh, First of all, thanks for having me. Good talking with you. And yeah, come check out the fight here on Saturday in St. Louis. It'll be a good one. And yeah, that's it.
Heck yeah, man. Chase, thank you so much for coming on. It means a lot to me that you take some time out of your day, especially during fight week. It means a lot to me. And best of luck on your fight. We're looking forward to it. And hopefully we can talk again in the future.
Sounds good. Appreciate it.
My man. All right. Take care. Have a good rest of your day.